New York City is pressuring the Biden administration to help it deal with an increasing number of migrants, which has overwhelmed its homeless shelter system.
Yeah, and this is a situation that we're seeing across the United States. There has been an increasing influx of migrants. There has been sort of a lot of political back and forth, particularly involving Texas and Florida. Texas, of course, is where many of these migrants first enter the country. We're also seeing an increased wave of migrants and other immigration from the north, which is something that hasn't happened. Certainly hasn't happened to the same extent as it has to the south. And this has also, I think, put pressure on the Adams administration here in New York City. Eric Adams has been sort of railing about this for quite some time and has tried to increase political pressure sort of from the left on the Biden administration. And this also, I think, whether fairly or not, plays into other ideas, particularly about crime and homelessness in New York City. I think for the Adams administration, what they want is just more aid from the Biden administration so they can deal with this situation. But our immigration system, it has not been changed or updated. We haven't had immigration reform in decades. And what we're seeing now is that system has become completely overwhelmed. There's no political will at all to shift it. So instead, we have a situation in which mayors in particular and governors to a lesser extent are essentially, they're putting Band-Aids on a broken system. And what we're seeing here are the sort of cracks of that really being exposed.
Joe Biden's also forecasted huge tax hikes over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, the budget situation here is a little funny because a budget is not going to get passed. So what we're seeing are kind of this dueling sort of political strategies of these two parties. The Biden budget, it's really pushing this idea of deficit reduction, and it's doing that by raising taxes to 25% for Americans who make more than $400,000 a year. Now, the goal here is to put political pressure on Republicans. Republicans have made deficit reduction a huge part of their campaign message. They are planning on holding the debt ceiling hostage in exchange for quite severe social spending cuts, although we don't know what those are yet now. But the Biden administration is putting out this budget as a kind of trap. Republicans have committed publicly to not cutting or altering, frankly, Social Security or Medicare. So the idea with this budget is to push Republicans to try to say what their cuts, how they would actually reduce the deficit. They probably will not be able to produce a budget that reduces it by $3 trillion, which I believe is what the Biden budget does. But that's what we're going to see. This will be a kind of a political game for the next few months. And these budgets are going to be largely fictional. There's nothing will change because we have a divided government that will find getting anything done, let alone passing a budget, extremely difficult for the next 2 years.
Yeah, Anthony Albanese on his way to the US even as we speak. So we'll watch that with interest, Alex. Always good to chat with you. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks.